Open your eyes. Can you see the signs? Can you feel the shaking? There is nothing new under the sun. What has been will come again. This battle is deeper than flesh and blood. It's a war for the heart. Open for the mind. For the soul. Wake up! Wake up! Nation rising against nation. Rumors of war across the land. People searching for tomorrow, trying hard to understand. Prices rising, tables shrinking. Families struggling to survive. Working harder, falling deeper, just to keep the dream alive. Food manufacturing, sickness increasing, healing turn to dollars and cents. People hurting, people traumatized, wondering where compassion went. We put our faith in jobs and titles, in a paycheck that can disappear. But your career was never your provider. The Most High brought you here.
Everything that can be shaken, start shaking all around. Build your house upon the rock, stand firm on holy ground. Babylon is falling.
Babylon,
Babylon is falling.
wake up, wake up. It's time to see.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Open your eyes, become aware of your awareness. Truth will make you free. Don't put your faith in Babylon.
Don't let fear become your king.
The Most High,
The Most High,
the Most High, the Most High,
the Most High.
the Most High is still your provider. Hold your faith through everything. Yeah, they told us stories from the beginning. Who discovered and who built this land? Whose blood, whose sweat, whose hands were hidden? Whose history they didn't understand? Some truth was buried beneath the pages. Some voices never made the books. Question what you've always been told. Sometimes truth requires another look. Systems promise they will save us. Governments say they understand. Left against right, neighbor against neighbor, while division spreads across the land. Social systems, economic systems, power changing hands again. Kingdoms rise and kingdoms crumble. Only truth will stand in the end.
Everything that can be shaken, start shaking all around. Build your house upon the rock, stand firm on holy ground. Babylon is falling.
Babylon is,
Babylon is falling.
wake up, wake up. It's time to see.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Open your eyes, become aware of your awareness. Truth will make you free. Don't put your faith in Babylon.
Don't let fear become your king.
The Most High,
The Most High,
the Most High, the Most High,
Most High.
the Most High is still your provider. Hold your faith through everything. Yeah, look at the fighting inside our families. Look at the fighting on the job. Brother against brother, sister against sister. Everybody carrying scars. Trauma passed through generations. Pain we never learned to name. Yeah. Wounded people. Keeping those cycles in the game. But we wrestle not with flesh and blood. There's a battle beyond what we see. Guard your heart and guard your spirit. Don't let hatred make you weak. Oh, put on the armor, stand in wisdom. Don't surrender your peace to fear. When the world says everything is hopeless, remember, the Most High is still here.
There's nothing new under
There's nothing new under the sun. Kingdoms rose, kingdoms fell, empires rose, empires rose,
empires fell.
empires empires fell.
Money changed,
Rulers changed,
systems changed their name.
but the same hunger
For power,
the same deception,
the same deception
the same division.
keeps coming back again.
So wake up, not in hatred, not in fear, not against your brother.
Not against your sister.
Wake up in wisdom,
Wake up in truth.
wake up in faith.
Wake up.
Come out of confusion, come out of deception.
Come out of Babylon.
Who is your provider?
The Most High. The Most High.
When the money gets low,
Most High.
when the job lets you go.
Happy Sabbath day, happy Sabbath day. This is the day that the Most High have made. So let us be glad and rejoice in it on this Sabbath day. Happy Sabbath day. Where did you get that song from, Sharon?
In my brain, my head.
So Sharon wrote that song. That what you just Sharon wrote that song that you just heard. She just wrote it and she put it on. She just wrote that song, right? And the music that you've been listening to, I say from about 4 or 5 weeks ago, has been music that Sharon and I've been writing. We've been writing those songs and those lyrics. One of them was a prayer, but others were songs that we've been writing. We got to edit a couple of songs, but that song that Sharon wrote from her heart. So that's why I was laughing, because I guess she's trying to show me she can write too, because the first 3 songs that you heard, I wrote them. So now I guess she's enhancing her writing skills to be like her husband. So if y'all like that song, put a like in it. Put a like that you like the song. So yeah, she wrote that song. I'm gonna give her credit for that one. That's good. I like it a lot. Keep up the good work.
Music is my background, baby.
Huh?
Music is my background now. Come on.
Well, I can't. Well, I'm just putting it out there, But yeah, keep up the good work. But I hope your week has been a great week. I hope the Most High really truly blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and joy. I hope the Most High really truly blessed you and your offspring with wisdom and knowledge and understanding of His word. I hope the Most High really truly have blessed you over and abundantly with everything that your heart desire. I really truly hope He has. I hope He has really blessed you. As for my week, as I can't complain too much, I won't complain. I just see that the Most High is working and He's moving and He's doing things, so I really can't complain too much, but today will be a little lengthy today, I think. I'm trying not to make it lengthy, but I want to give you some information today, because I think that when it was in Daniel chapter 5, right? Let's go to it real fast. Daniel chapter 5. And it's verse 5. It says, "In the same hour came forth fingers of a man's hand, and wrote over the candlestick upon the plaster of the wall of the king's palace. and the king saw the part of the hand that wrote. Okay? And the thing about it is, where we get this phrase from, the writing is on the wall, is from that verse right down. Because we can actually see society today. We can see actually everything that's going on in the world. And that is the reality that we have to live in, is that we can see the writing on the wall. And it is up to us on how we respond to the writing on the wall. I guess that's why Sharon's song is so prevalent, because a lot of things that going on in the world today is that revelation is real. But let us go ahead and get started. I want to go ahead and read Exodus. I want to go ahead and read the prayer so we can get started, because I want us to understand some stuff that we really didn't pay attention to, but we're gonna have to pay attention to it now. It says in Exodus chapter 20, verses 1 through 17, it says, Ananias spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy Ananias, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Ananias before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I, Yahuwah, thy Ananias, am a jealous Ananias, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy Ananias in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy Ananias. In it thou shalt not do any works, thou, nor thy sons, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy Ananias giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adulteries, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbors, and thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's house, and thou shalt not cover thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Okay, so let us pray this morning. It says, O creators of the heavens and earth, of all radiance and vibrations, soften the grounds of our beings and carve out a space with us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear fruits of our mission. Let each of our actions bear fruits in accordance with our desire within your purpose for our life. Bestow with the wisdom of produce and share where each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled thread of destiny that binds us as we release others from the entanglement of past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which distracts us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of present moments. For you are the ground and the fruitful vision, the creator, empowerment, and fulfillment as all is gathered and made whole once again, so let it be. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How y'all doing this morning? I hope your week has been a great week. I hope the Most High have really truly blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and peace, and wisdom, and understanding of His word. Let me go, because the last couple of weeks, my mind was somewhat in so many different places last week. In the last couple of weeks, I want to go ahead and talk about. Also get back to what we have created, the black inventions, right? It says animal breeding. Long before we was breeding pet bulls Our ancestors was breeding all of the world's domesticated animals. Many of these animals, like the goats and cows, were domesticated in Africa, while others were domesticated as ancient black civilization spread in the Near East, Europe, and Asia over 15,000 years ago. So we domesticated, we was breeding animals. It says agriculture. Black people designed massive works of architectural proofs over 5,000 years ago. Nearly everywhere in the world, for example, there are pyramids in Egypt and Sudan, West Africa, South America, China, South Pacific, and the Americas. Even signs like were originally used by black communities to produce the world's oldest music halls, ceremonial centers, monuments more than 10,000 years ago in the Nile Valley and other sites across the world. So when we go to looking at, civilization and things of that nature and accomplishments of African American people, we were breeding animals. We was breeding animals, we was building architects. So for us to be able to understand that our civilization didn't come from being enslaved, or we wasn't just slave brought over here, we have to look at ancient civilizations and the culture. Even when you look at the Bible, the Biblio, the Bible is it tells you where it actually established and it was born, it was originated from. It would say hypothetically the continent of Africa. The continent of Africa is mainly dark-skinned people. And why I say this, and I'm gonna continue to say this, never to belittle or downput any other nationality or ethnicity, but it is to encourage my people, African American people, because we consider to be the downtrodden. So I am doing this to encourage our people, to let them know that we have a heritage, we have lineage, we have contributed to this world and to this society on numerous levels. Even when you go back into the ancient medicine, where Kemet, the medicines was in Kemet, on the continent of Africa. That's where everybody went to learn how to do medicine, Kemet. So when we're looking at it, all the civilizations of the world came to Africa for knowledge. So this is just another encouragement for you all to understand that, hey, I am not a downtrodden people. My history might have been stolen, and I might have lost my who I am, but I am not downtrodden people. I have just lost my way. Okay? So now when let's go to Book of Revelations. I don't taught on this before, but I'm gonna teach on it again because Revelation chapter 18, 1 through 10. I taught on this before, but I want to teach on it again because the Spirit, it opened my eyes to something on this, and this is the reason why I got to do it. The Spirit opened my eyes to this, so this is why I have to do it. Go to verse 18, 8 and 18, and it says, and it reads, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death, mourning, and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahuwah Anani who judged her. Right? So the title of the text today, the title of the teachings today is, we are in the final stage of destruction. We are in the final stage of destruction. Let me read that verse over again. It says, therefore her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. For strong is Yahuwah Anani who judged her. We're in the final stage of destruction. Okay, I'm gonna give you two words: process. Process means moving forward. It's a progressive course, tendencies, gradual progress, fact of being, carried on a journey, continuation, development, legal trials, methods, and ways. Okay, time. And I want us to understand, I'm going to say something to you about time. Time is both of these words are 14th century words. Time means primarily equivalent to a season. Not the time on your watch. Time is considered to be notified by seasons. Because you should have 3 months of each season. That's how you know the times of the season or the duration of something, right? It says the primarily equivalent to a season, particularly portion or part of durations, whether past, present, or future. Time as an indefinite continuous duration. So when you're looking at time, say hypothetically, when you may go through your dark period in your life, right? You're not gonna say in June of 2020 at 12 o'clock I was going through a dark period in my life. You know, you just gonna remember the season. Man, in 2020, man, I was going through a hard time, man. You're only gonna associate your hard time with or you're only gonna associate that season with the time. You're not gonna look at it as we're looking at it today, as we're looking at it right now. It's 11:53 Eastern time. You're gonna look at the season or the complications that you was going through during that time period. So when we're looking at time, like from the watch, it's not relevant. But the seasons during the time period of whatever we was going through, like fall, winter, spring, and it says spring, summer, fall, and winter. Those are seasons. That's how we can adjust times. Not necessarily the time on your watch. Okay? So now we're in the final stage of destruction. We're talking about time and processes, right? We also, let us go to Galatians chapter 6, verse 7. One of the things that I want us to really understand, right, about what we got going on today, because it's going to be very relevant. It says, be not deceived, and is not mocked, for whatever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. Understand that. Whatever anybody does, they got to understand that there's always consequences behind it. And I remember 2 weeks ago, right, I had a supervisor actually agitating me or bothering me or hindering me, right? They was intentionally doing it for 2 weeks straight in my side, right? But the third week, I saw her walking around with her back hurting. Her back was hurting. She couldn't hardly walk. She was taking a bunch of pain pills. But when I saw this, the Most High allowed me to see her going through her suffering, because she was making someone else suffer. Because the Most High said, do not touch my anointed one. And the moment you start touching his anointed one, the more you're going to suffer. So when I saw her going through it, I wanted to tell her, if you leave me alone, you'll be left alone. But I didn't tell her, because I wanted her to continue to suffer a little bit, because she was going through what she was taking me through. So that's why I allowed her to continue to go through what she was going through. She probably ain't hurt no more now, but when I was working with her, she was suffering because she was trying to call herself making me suffer. She couldn't hardly walk because her back was hurting so bad, but not realizing that she was trying to make me suffer, right? So now, when we go to the book of Revelation chapter 18, we all understand that the book of Revelation means reveal, uncovers, open your eyes, things of that nature right there, right? But the book of Revelation is in chapter 17, chapter 18 is talking about Babylon, the great beast, the great whore, who has committed a whole bunch of calamities in the world, have caused devastation, have caused destruction upon the world and civilization. That Babylon has made the countries around the world be so destroyed because of her needs, her wants, her desires. And Babylon have also created allies to be able to help her push her agenda around the world. so that they could be able to push the agenda of wickedness and things of that nature. See, we may not be able to understand what happened in Egypt. We may not be able to understand what happened in Assyria. We may not be able to understand what happened in Babylon. We may not be able to understand what happened in Medo-Persia or Persia. We may not be able to understand what happened in ancient Greek and Rome. We may not be able to understand those things. We may not even be able to understand Spain. But the Most High has given us an eyewitness to how nations fall, because we're living in a nation that is fallen. We're living in a nation that is fallen, and we can understand why the nation is falling. The nation is falling because of corruption. Corruption is the act or a state of being or destroying the natural form of the body by the separation of the component parts, okay? Corruption means wickedness, perversion, deterioration of moral principle. That's what corruption means from this point here. Corruption means wickedness, perversion, or deterioration of moral principles. Loss of purity and integrity. That's how we as us as African American people or Hebrew people today, we can actually see why the Americas have been in, why it is in the state of it is in today, because of the corruption. We see the fall. We see all the evidence. When we look back in history, we can see and understand why everything is taking place the way it is. Because it says in Galatians again, you reap what you sow. So now, if we understanding that this country was built on wickedness, it was built on death, it was built on all these things, right, of wickedness, economic, religious, and political wickedness. Now we can understand why why it's falling. Even though we couldn't relate to those stories of ancient time, but we can understand it because we're living in the present time of this moment. We can see it right in our face. We have experienced it. We are people of history that understand what happened during the 1619 1865, during they had slavery. They was burning people, they was lynching people, they was feeding babies, they were having alligator bait, they was having breathing farms, and all of these things just to be able to create and have prosperity here in the Americas. And then after that, they had Jim Crow. They had all these things with that. And then they had the Civil Rights Movement. They had segregation. They had all these things. So when we understand why we are in this moment that we're in, we understand that because of the spiritual corruption that this country was built on. Everything about this country has been corrupt. But it was all, and the thing about it is too, I want us to understand something very important. It was all a divine setup. All these things had to take place. All the countries who experienced leadership power and all these things, it had to take place. All these things, all the events, not all the events, but the events that happened took place because that's what the Most High allowed it to do. And also we have to understand that what we're seeing today is still part of the processes of the Most High. See, what I want us to understand is that when we look at Genesis chapter 1, it shows you that the Most High works in processes. He works in time. He works in moments. He doesn't work. Some things he do immediately, but it's still over a period of time. It doesn't happen right now, right here at this moment. Because when like if the if somebody's being investigated, right, the person who's investigating the criminal, they allow this criminal to incriminate himself for a long period of time. So when they gather all the evidence, they have a open and closed case against this person or this criminal because all the evidence is this high against the criminal. So the criminal cannot say or deny anything that he's done because the investigator have allowed this criminal to have this much incriminating evidence against themselves. And see, when we look at the history of the Americas, right, the power is this high. The power is this high. So now there's no self-defense in the process because the Most High allowed all the evidence to pile up from the very beginning until now. See, the Most High allowed all this corruption, all these things that take place until now. And now he's bringing judgment because of all of the corruption that this country have had for over 250 years or more. 250 years since they've been established. But we got to understand 1619 to 1865 was another total period of time. The time period during the 1619 to 1865 was it was 246 years. It was 246 years from 1619 to 1865. So the Most High allowed that evidence to be come together because of how they established this country and the method and ways and how they established it. Then after the establishment of this country, then the Most High allowed the other evidence to be stacked and piled on. Because now he said you got this country the way you got it. That's evidence against you. Then now once you establish this country and all the wickedness and corruption you had, it has been piled on against you as well. So the Most High was just sitting back collecting evidence against the country because of the simple fact that he wanted to heal Babylon, but he did not heal Babylon because the mindset of Babylon. So when we started to look at it, we started to look at it, right? The evidence is overwhelming on this case. The evidence is overwhelming. The blood is on the hands. It's too much that you cannot do. It's nothing that you can do to be able to say that you can justify your behaviors during this process if you're taking this person to court. This person cannot say, hey, this is the reason why I did this. The evidence proves you wrong. So now, when you go to looking at it, the Most High is saying, your time is up. It's time for you to stand trial. It's time for you to get ready to go face the judge. It is time for you to get your juries of your own peers to be able to look at your situation and judge you according to your actions. Not your belief, but your physical actions. And see, a lot of the times when people start to look at things, you remember when they took Jesus, the Hashatan to Yahusha, to the mount and tempted him? See, when President Trump first came into office, right, that was the beginning of the spiritual temptation of the nation, because he was actually telling the nations the things they wanted to hear so that they could be able to vote him into office. And it's all based on symbolisms and symbolic situations, right? So when you're looking at Donald Trump, when he first came into office, as the 45th president of the United States of America, right? He became the 45th president of the United States of America, right? So when you're looking at numerology, you're looking at things of that nature there, right? 45 equals 9, right? 45 equals 9. The 9, the complete 9, the number 9 symbolizes the end of a cycle. Wisdom gain and readiness to release what no longer serves you. That's what 9 represents. So when Donald Trump, president, started to become president, he was feeling the first portion of his presidential term was feeling the number 9, the number 9 portion of the number. Because I remember, I never forget this day when he said they quote unquote said he caught the COVID, right? And he was he went to the hospital and did that. First thing he did was snatch that mask off to let us know that, hey, that stuff was bogus. So he was revealing to us some of the things that was going on in society, even when he called the media fake news, because he understood that it was all propaganda. But he was starting to begin to end the cycle of what we thought was really true, and it actually was not true. Because the number 9 represents the end of a cycle, end of a period, end of a duration, right? It says wisdom gain. That's when people started to taking heed to what he was saying and what he was doing. And it says, and readiness to release what was no longer serve you. You're starting to get rid of the things that you didn't really need anymore, right? So the number 9 was fulfilled. And what actually didn't take place until a lot of people's mind is he lost his second attempt to become president, right? He lost it to Joe Biden, right? But he turned around and won the next one, which would be 47. 47 is the symbolisms in numerology of 11. 11. So he won the 45th, where it represented 9. Then he also won the 47, which that took on the second portion of the 11, which is, if you put them together, which is 911. That was the symbolization of Donald Trump coming into office. It symbolizes the number 911 in the symbolism, in the numerology and symbolism portion of it. So what the 11 represents in the spirituality, it means spiritual awakening, a master number linked to the intuition, enlightenment, and heightened awareness. This indicates a call to embrace your inner wisdom and your spiritual gifts. But when we look at 911, we look at 911 as an emergency, a crisis event that's getting ready to take place in the world or in a situation that we're actually needing help for some tragic events that is actually taking place. And so when we're looking at it, he is the one that is bringing on a total different awakening in the earth and bringing on an emergency crisis in the world, which is going to bring on a new cycle, a wisdom gate. It's going to release what was old and bring in something new. But a lot of us could not wrap our heads around it, because he was just like the devil when he took the Messiah to the mountain. The Messiah was tempted, but the Messiah rebuked the devil. But see, a lot of us, when we casted our vote for him, we bought into the temptation because he gave you everything that you wanted to hear. Just like when you look at Eve, was tempted by the Hashatan in the garden. He told her some sweet nothings, or he gave her an imagination of the mind to entice her to take his advice. So that was no different than what Donald Trump did here in the United States of America. But he was actually bringing on and fulfilling biblical prophecy of bringing 911 to the Americas of the Babylonian Empire. But a lot of us just couldn't see it because we were so still indulged in our own appetite for what we think we physically wanted, but it was killing us spiritually here in the United States. And because it was killing us spiritually here in the United States, that's why we're in the final stages of where we are today. And that's something that we have to be able to deal with. That's something that we got to be able to understand. We got to accept, because this is an informational teachings today that we have to take heed to, because the simple fact is, what we're seeing that's going on around us today is not accidental. It's very intentional. And see, when I'm looking at, I do believe that they have to give us notifications on what's going on in the world. I do believe that they have to give us something. They got to be able to say, I told you. You just didn't take heed to it. Right? I believe if you look at the world, if you look at the movie How It Ends, right? The movie How It Ends talks about some major catastrophe that's going to happen in California on the West Coast. And if you look at what actually been going on lately, a lot of things been transpiring in California. I even woke up and told my wife one morning that, hey, some major event going to happen in California. I told her this maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, right? A week ago. I told her that's about a week ago that something major is going to happen in California. But if you look at the movie How It Ends, No, not yet. If you look at the movie How It Ends, the event transpired in California, what caused the whole thing to start transpiring around the country. The event had to take place in California, right? So now I look at that in my dream, how it connected. But then also I look at the movie Leave the World Behind. The movie Leave the World Behind is very vital. It's important to what? Leave the world behind, on how things are taking place and things of that nature, and what would actually happen in the world. And what got me when I was looking at it, the Most High been helping me to look at this movie and analyze it. And he said, at the end of, almost close to the last episode of the movie, where the brother, the other dude, and the son was in a car. And they had just left the guy's house. And the guy said, hey, it's 3 major events that would take place to show you internally how the destruction of a country would take place. And he went in order. He first said isolation. He said isolation. Then he also said chaos. And then once he said chaos, then he said civil unrest. And see, Most High was speaking to me at that moment, because I know how I get my messages to be able to come to you on the Sabbath to teach you something. He said those three things are is a notification or a symbolization of how you know a country is falling. Because the country is never going to fall on the out. It always starts from within. So now when you're looking at this story in the book of Revelation chapter 18, I'm finna show you exactly, not exactly, but I'm going to show you from my viewpoint, from the spirit of how I know that, how I think, not saying my thinking is correct, how I think that we are in the final stages. I'm going to read a couple of newspaper articles to you to be able to give you my support. Because everybody been having notions about this and everybody been having notions about that. But they never really put no ground, they never put biblical to reality. And see, now hopefully I can bring biblical to reality so that you can be able to comprehend it a little bit better, because this season that we're in, this time that we're in, or season that we're in is very vital. And you cannot take it as if we got a long period of time coming, because the fact is we don't. We don't have as much time as you think we have. Because if you look at it, everything is moving very fast. Things are happening on a scale that nobody could even imagine. And that's something that we got to understand. That's something that we got to understand. So now when we're talking about Babylon, the fall of Babylon, we got to understand Galatians 6 and 7. Let me read it over for you again and let me get started, because that's basically what this chapter is all about. You reaping what you have sown to nations around the world. You reaping what you have done to other countries and other people. It says, be not deceived, Ananias not mocked, for wherever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. That is something that we really, truly have to understand as a nation or a people. So now when we go to Revelation chapter 18, let us get started, because I want us to understand something. Look who's making everything happen. It is not the Most High, but it's his workers, who we call angels or messengers. Okay, so it says, after these things, I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lightened with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is falling, and is become the habitations of devils, and the holes of every foul spirit, a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Now, this is an angel talking about Babylon and her conditions. This is an angel that is crying out. This is a messenger from the Most High talking about Babylon as a system and as a country and a nation on the earth. Talking about her conditions, is talking about the present moment of Babylon, because it uses the word is. Babylon the great is. Is a present tense word. Is fallen, is become the habitations of devils. The habitation means a dwelling place for devils or demonic people and spirits, and the whole of every foul spirit. The word whole means the conditions of everybody that is living in Babylon. A lot of people that is living in Babylon, holes, are acting out of a foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful place. A bird means that the cage represents an imprisonment. The people that is living in Babylon, they are Babylon is a place of devils, demonic spirits, and holds or acts of every foul spirit, the act of every foul spirit, and a imprisonment of every unclean and hateful bird. Because when they use the word cage, it is letting you know that when you put something in a cage, it is like they're being in prison. They cannot get out because of the system that is holding them in this place. And because this system that is holding them in this place, it is creating a foul condition or evil spirit, evil condition in these places. And see, sometimes we wonder why people are doing the demonic things that they're doing. It is because of the system and the spirits that is in this system or that is in this place right now. It is creating a violent and a volatile system where it could explode at any moment. That is what we're looking at. That's actually what the conditions of Babylon is now. Babylon, that's why it's so difficult for people to be able to get out, because it's like we are imprisoned in a place that's difficult to get out because of the luxuries and the delicacies that we have here in the Americas. People don't want to leave what they think makes them feel good. Because if you go to verse 5, because listen to this, listen. Because Babylon just didn't do it on herself, she enticed other people as well. Because it says, for all nations have drunk of the wine. The word wine means intoxication. Intoxication of the wrath, the judgment of her fornication, her wickedness. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And see, that's something that we have to understand. When we analyze verse 2, right? We got to understand that when we analyze in verse 2, it says, it's become a place of demons and the actions of every foul spirit and an imprisonment of every unclean and hateful bird. That means that the societal conditions of Babylon is wicked because how it is built, what it is made off of, how the foundation of the country is, how society is today. How could we be a whole and wholesome society when we allow segregation? How can we say we're a whole society when we allow separations of water fountains? How can we say we're a society that is great when we allow separations of schools? How can we say we're a society of when we allow prejudices, hangings, lynchings, unjustified murders? How can we say we are a society that is pure when we have been allowing injustices to go out through all the world? How can we say that it is okay for someone to get off on some cases, but others can't? How can you say that I'm gonna give certain amount of institutions 50 million or 100 million, but other institutions you only give 1 or 2 million to? How is that justice? How is that balance? So when we start to look at the societal conditions of Babylon, we can say that the societal systems of Babylon is corrupt. It is corrupt. So now what the Most High is doing is basically Most High allowed Babylon to be able to do the things that she's doing, but the Most High is just continuing to build evidence and evidence and evidence from against her, because she's going to be able to establish you didn't even have a good society. You did not even, I gave you the power and the abilities to create whatever society you wanted to have. But you didn't base your society on righteousness and justice in my word. You based your society on corruption and demonic beings. You allowed corruption to go throughout your whole society. It just wasn't from the religious point of view. It just wasn't from the economic point of view, or redlining and all these things. It wasn't just from economics. It wasn't just from religion, but it was also from political. Political. You telling me that you had created a society from 1865 to 1965, you just allow people to start being able to have civil rights and voting rights equal. When I allowed you to have this power for this amount of time, that means that you just in 1965 and 1964, you allow people to have the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act in this society, giving people to have equal rights in your society. And see, that's what the Most High said. Now, I gave you a long period of time to be able to have justice in the country, but you chose not to. So now what I'm basically doing is building my case against you because of the things that you have done wrong. You allowed Tulsa, Oklahoma to be burned, and you was participating in burning of Tulsa, Oklahoma by dropping bombs on that community. When you're supposed to be a society that's supposed to be morally and physically pure. But you decided to allow bombing of Tulsa, Oklahoma that was built on a lie. Knowing that that young man did not touch that woman or even attempt to touch her, but that the destruction came upon a lie. Even when you go to Rosewood, the same thing in Rosewood. When you destroy communities because of a lie, not because of the truth. So now, when you destroyed those countries, knowing that they was having an opportunity to become good and great. But you didn't build off of that. You just tried to destroy. And you did destroy it throughout the whole country. That's why they call it Red Summer, where you went and took people's lands from them so that you could be able to prosper off that. But you was supposed to be the light, the lamp that sat on the top of the candle, on the table stand. You was the one that was supposed to be a light in darkness. Because it says again in verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the intoxication of the judgment of her fornication, of her wickedness. And the kings of the earth have committed fornications with her. That means that she had alliances. That means that she had people that was partnering up with her to be able to commit these demonic and evil things in the earth. So now, if you believe in the Most High, you have to ask the question, how long, Most High, how long? Why did you allow these things to happen? Because the Most High said, I had to get my evidence. So that she couldn't say, I didn't do this and I couldn't do that, because I got 400 years of evidence on her, where I have given her opportunities and opportunities to be able to make it right, but she never made it right. Even when she had an opportunity to give you reparations, means to repair, She never gave you that opportunity. She never gave you reparations. She continued to harden her heart. She continued to be wicked. So I'm going to show you the first stage, how the Most High allowed all these things to happen, okay? Now we're dealing with societal corruption, a societal collapse. So now when you look at the society as a whole, now we can look that we have some symbolizations of our societal correction. Let us go to Jeremiah chapter 24, Isaiah chapter 24, verse 1. 1 through 3. And it says, Behold, Yahuwah maketh the earth empty, and maketh it waste, and it turns it upside down, scattered abroad the inhabitants thereof. It shall be as with the people, so with the priests, as with the servants, so with his masters, as with the maids, so with the mistress, as with the buyers, so with the sellers, as with the lenders, so with the borrowers, as with the takers of usury, so with the givers of usury to him. The land shall be utterly empty and utterly spoiled, for the Yahuwah has spoken his words. See, we got to understand why these things are happening. Why the Most High is judging the people. Why the Most High is judging the land. Why the Most High is doing these things? Because of societal collapse, because of the wickedness of the world. So the Most High has to deal with society as a whole first. It's got to deal with the people, because those people in verse 2 makes up the society. The people, it says it shall be as with the people, the priests, the servants, his masters, the maids, the mistress, the buyers, the sellers, the lenders, the borrowers, the usuries, and the givers of him. That makes up society. Society as a whole. So, because our society was so corrupt, the Most High got to deal with it. And some of us can't even see it because of the simple fact that we're still yearning. We're still hoping for something else. We're hoping that this becomes this and this becomes that and that becomes this. Hope is a handicapped word. It just means wishing for something that may never happen. So the next one, let's go to Jeremiah chapter 51. through 35. Because if you look at it, right, that movie, How It Leave the World Behind, gave you 3 things on why it's going to happen and what are the signs. So now we're dealing with the society in itself. See, society began to fall on the first 9. Society began to fall on the first 9. That's when society began to fall, because that's when judgment was starting, because that was during 2019. Okay, so in Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 33 through 35, it says, For thus said Yahuwah of hosts, Anani of Israel, the daughters of Babylon, is a thrusting floor. It is time to thrust her yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come, beginning in 2019, the first 9. Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, has devoured me. He has crushed me. He has made me an empty vessel. He has swallowed me like a dragon. He has filled his belly with my delicacies. He has cast me out. The violence done to me, to my flesh, be upon Babylon. Shall the inhabitants of Zion say, and my blood upon the inhabitants of Shadin. Shall Jerusalem say, therefore, thus saith Yahuwah, behold, I will plead thy cause and take vengeance for thee. I will dry up her seas and make her springs dry. See, when Babylon was coming in, he destroyed a society of people. That society of people was collapsing. He collapsed that whole society. How do you think Lake Lanier got into to be Lake Lanier? That was a civilization. That was a society within itself, and they went in and destroyed Lake Lanier. Those people that was Oscarville. They went in there and destroyed Oscarville. So Babylon has been destroying society since its very existence. Central Park is part of that in New York. That used to be a black city. Underground Atlanta as well. So when we go to looking at all these things, we have to see that the societal collapse had to begin first. And the last one to go to Nahum 2. Nahum 2, 9 and 10. It says, take ye the spoils of silver, take the spoils of gold, for there is none end of the stores, and glory out of the pleasant furniture. She is empty and void and waste, the heart melted, and the knees smit together, and pain is in all loins, and the faces of them all gathered blackness. See how you know that a system, a country is on a downslope. You got to first look at their society and see how the society is. You got to look at the values of society. You got to look at the financial conditions of society. You got to look at the political realm of the society, and you got to look at the politics of society. Political, financial, and religious structure of a society to be able to say if this society is sustainable or not. And when you look at our society, we have intense racism, we have political chaos, we have religious chaos, and we have economic crisis here in America. We have economic crisis here in America. This article came out of Business Insider. It says an economist who study financial crisis say the U.S. is on the brink of recession. These are the two warning signs. It says a professor has spent years studying financial crisis thinks the U.S. economy is on a verge of trouble. An economist who specializes in geopolitics and financial crisis laying out a grim outlook for the U.S. In a post on Substack this week, the professor said he analyzed several key barometrics in financial markets and economy. The finding ultimately supported the idea that the U.S. is precautionarily close to another turndown, despite booming stocks and strong surface level growth. He didn't have a concrete timeline for when a recession could start, but we need to acknowledge that the bottom can fall beneath the U.S. economy, particularly in any minute, he warns. Okay? So when we go to looking at it, he's talking about the United States is on an economical downfall. We have to understand something. At the beginning of the year, we lost over 3 to 4 million jobs in our society, and we haven't replaced those jobs. Okay? So if we haven't replaced those jobs and we're constantly losing jobs, how can our society be beneficial from that? Okay? Then it goes to this one. It says, I got another article on the economy and understanding that the economy is part of our societal collapse. It says how the U.S. economy crisis is affecting retirement accounts. The current economy environment marked by inflation, interest rate volatility, and geopolitical shocks is putting pressure on retirement accounts like 401ks, RAs, and is compounding a long-standing retirement security crisis. Now everybody's feeling the crunch of because the economy is going through a go down. The market is falling. It is an inflated market. It has never been at 52,000 points ever. And it shouldn't have never been at 52,000 points. But they're trying to let you think that the economy is doing good because the NASDAQ or the stock market says 52,000, but that's inflated. How can you be in $40 trillion debt? You done lost over 5 to 6 million jobs. Your whole economy is on a shambles, but your stock market is still going up to 52,000. And even like you just said, even the infrastructure is in chaos. How can you say that the Dow Jones is at 52,000 points when jobs are letting go people on a daily basis? When people are not, you have high tariff that is hitting the country. We're taxing people on tariff. We're at war over there in Iran. How can you say that our stock market is at 52,000 points? And it says this, it says market and economic crisis pressure. Recent data showed that inflation remains sticky, with the CPI still rising and interest rates have fluctuated sharply. This creates uncertainty for retirement portfolios as assets values can swing with the market conditions. Experts note that while the biggest risk isn't just market volatility, it is reacting to short-term headlines instead of sticking to a long-term plan. For those close to or already in retirement, timing of withdrawing becomes critical or as losses hit harder without years to recover. That's why people are really trying to negotiate on what they want to do with their life because of the simple fact that they see how the economy is. And how the economy is, it affects society. It affects the political. It affects the whole realm. But the evidence been built. The evidence been built. Because you got to understand, we've been in power for 265 years. And we had the abilities to do whatever we want to do, how we want to do it. And I just say since 1920s, since the industrial age, we've been having power. But evidence have been piling up. So we're looking at our society. Look at our societal values. Look at the standards and how we are as a people, as a nation. We don't have no moral ethics or character. It's whatever goes. And can't nobody say nothing to nobody about nothing. Long time ago in our community, we used to be able to say something to somebody about something. But now you can't say nothing to nobody about nothing. It's however I want to be, the way I want to be, and can't nobody do nothing about it. So let us go back to Revelation chapter 18, verse 4. Because it says again, for all nations have drunk of the intoxication of the judgment of her of wickedness. All nations have done it. All nations have got intoxicated. It means that you're not thinking. Intoxicated means that you're not thinking clearly about the decisions that you're making. That's what intoxication means, that you're not thinking clearly about the severity of the decisions that you're about to make. I'm about to allow my country and my people to be ruled by demonic spirits and imprison them. See, that's what intoxication, that's what wine means. Wine means intoxication. But the intoxication means that you can't think clearly. It's just like when somebody's driving drunk down the road. They can't make no decisions. They're weaving from one way to another, one way to another. They run a stop sign. They might even have accidents and delete people because of the intoxication that they got from drinking wine. And see, that's what people don't think about, the ramifications of the actions. So now it says the intoxication of the judgment. The judgment is after you done did everything you done did. That's what wrath means, the judgment. Now you got pulled over by the police and now they finna get you, put you in jail because of you've been driving, you got a DUI. You broke a law. You broke the law. You broke the law riding with somebody you know you shouldn't have been riding with. And it says of her fornication, her wickedness. See, we only get drunk because we want to do something wrong. We want to feel a certain way about whatever it is. We want to, whatever it is, that's why we get drunk. Then it says, and the kings of the earth committed fornications, wickedness with her. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. So she had a lot of people doing the same thing. So it's not just one system or one country. It's many countries going to be falling into this situation. Not thinking about who you made alliances with. Not thinking about what I'm doing. Am I with the right person? Am I with the right people? See, she enticed everybody to do it. Whoever was on her alliance, she enticed them to do it. Now, those 20 countries that are G20 or G7, all those countries going to have to fall the same way she fall. Then it says, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins, that ye receive not of her plagues, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Ananias has remembered her iniquities. And it says, reward her as she rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, in the way which she has filled. In listen to this, I'm interpreting it because I had to do some word study on this. It says, in the ways which she has committed adulteries, punish her double. See, listen to this. It says in verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven. They got a lot of evidence now. They got a lot of evidence. This reminds you of Sodom and Gomorrah. That's why the Most High talks about Sodom and Gomorrah. The Sodom and Gomorrah wickedness was so much that it was like, nah, that's enough, man. I got too much evidence on you, Sodom and Gomorrah. Now it's saying the same thing about the system and the people. I got too much. You don't did too much, man. Why did you do all these things? This is the proof on why he's doing what he's doing. This is his evidence. This is his fabric. This is all the evidence that he has. He said, for her sins have reached unto heaven, and Ananias has remembered her iniquities. Now he's rendering judgment. This is the judgment part in verse 6. It says, reward her even as she rewarded you. Now I want you to do to her what you've been doing, what she's been doing to other people. And see, the first thing that systems do when they want to create something new is they go in and tear down what was there so they can create their own. So what she did to other people is the same thing as done to here. It's going to be doing here. They first had to destroy society. They had to destroy their society first. Then it says, double unto her according to her works. See, her works was she destroyed the political, the religious, and economic systems to every country she went into. That's what she did. She destroyed the political, the economic, and the religious systems. So now, once she done that, she captured them. So now what has to be done to her? Her political, her religious, and her economical systems has to be destroyed. And it had to be destroyed the same way she did to other people. And it's going to be double. Some people can't even wrap their head around what double look like. The book of Eli. What double look like? The book of Eli. Because we can't go back and look at Afghanistan. Afghanistan is functioning. Let's look at Iraq. Iraq is functioning, but it took them 20 years to get back on their feet a little bit. Libya is functioning a little bit. Gaza, destroyed. Palestine, about to be destroyed. So imagine if it's double than Afghanistan, it's double than Libya, it's double than Iraq, it's double than Gaza, it's double than Palestine. What would it look like? The book of Eli. The book of Eli. That's what judgment looks like for the system in the countries. Okay, verse 7 it says, how much has she glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. Listen to this part. For she said in her heart, in her mind, I sit a queen and no widow, and she shall see no sorrow. See, she isolated herself from everybody in the world. She thought she was so much better than every country that existed. She put her political, her economic, and religious opinion on every country she invaded. And she said that she was doing it because of the democracy. That's what she did. Let us go to 2 Chronicles, chapter 16. No, chapter 26, verse 16. See, when you feel like you got it going on so much, you're going to do whatever you think you got to do. You're going to isolate yourself because you think you're superior, you're better, whatever. Because it says this in 2 Chronicles chapter 26, verse 16, it says, when he was strong, his heart, his mind was lifted up to his destruction. For he transgressed against Yahuwah his Anani, and went into the temple of Yahuwah to burn incense upon the altar of incense. But the point is, when you think you're better, you start isolating yourself from other people because you don't want to be around them, because you think your way is right, this, and that, and the other. That's what you'll start doing, right? You start thinking that you're so much greater. Okay, let us go to Proverbs 16 and 8. Because it says this in Proverbs 16 and 8. Better is a little with righteousness than great revenue without right. See, that's how Babylon got everything he got. Being unrighteous. Being unright. That's how Babylon got to be who Babylon is, unrighteous. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47, 7 through 9. This is what I want you to get, because this is what the mindset of it is. This is what the Statue of Liberty is in New York. It says, thou saidest, I shall be a lady forever, so that thou did not lay these things to thy mind, neither did remember the latter end of it. Therefore hear now this, thou that art given to pleasures, that dwellest carelessly, that saith in thy mind, I am, and none else beside me. I shall not sit as a widow, neither shall I know the loss of children. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children and widowhood. They shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantment. See, because she wanted to isolate herself so much and think she's so much greater and better than everybody else. This is the reason why things are happening the way she happened. Just like when he says, make America great again. We're going to do all these things for America, not understanding that we're in a global market. How can you isolate yourself from the global systems? When you feel like you have the authority to be able to put taxes on your alliances, which is China and Mexico, who give you about 35 to 50% of your imports of food and alcoholic beverages and other stuff. You codependent on people you're putting tariffs on. But it reads like this in an article that I'm reading. It's in the Guardian. It came out February 13, 2026. It says, the title is, these charts show how Trump is isolating U.S. on the world stage. Analysts show that the world is moving closer to China as Trump isolationism rears its head at the United Nations. Everybody's moving away from the United States. Now everybody's moving towards China. It says Donald Trump return to the White House has circulated a profound shift in the global order, according to new analysts. A report which analyzed UN voting records revealed how Washington America First, make America again, agenda has started to redraw the geopolitical map in favor of China. In 2026, the world is now diplomatically closer to Beijing than it has been in recent memories, with significant shift in alignment taking place during the start of Trump's second presidential term. Listen to that, the 1-1 part. With significant shift in alignment taking place during the start of Trump's second presidential term. That's the 1-1 part. How Trump isolationism pushed the world to China. Data analysts used the UN General Assembly votes to act as a proxy for geopolitical alignment. Countries that constantly vote the same way on contest resolutions tend to have common interests. By measuring how closely each country voted, records correlated with these of the U.S. or China. Researchers have been able to map how geopolitical centers of gravity farther away from Washington and closer to Beijing than any other points this century. See, everybody's moving away from the United States because she's isolated herself from the world. But this is just this is the judgment. Because when you got somebody on trial, right? You try each person individually so that you could be able to get the evidence that you need. Each individual, and say even hypothetically, you're gonna take all of them to court. Each one of the members going to get judged individually because of what they did in the crime. See, because he's isolating us, America first, MAGA, make America great again. He started to isolate America from the world. But consciously, we didn't even see that. Because we were so caught up in what he was saying, but not understanding the impact of the reality. People are shutting down borders. People are trying to lose contact with us. Even Saudi Arabia is not even agreeing with some of the things that we had done. And they was one of our biggest allies. Let us go back to Revelation chapter 18, verse 8. I'm going to read 7, and then I'll go to 8, 9, 10. Then I get my last point. It says, how much she has glorified herself, isolated herself, and lived deliciously. So much turmoil and sorrow give her. Because of how she living and the way she living, give her torment and sorrow. For she said in her mind, I sit a queen and no widow, and shall see no sorrow. This is her mindset because she feel like she'll isolate herself from the world. Therefore shall plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall utterly be burned with fire. For strong is Yahuwah Anani, who judge her. So we got to understand that this is the Most High's doing. This is not man's doing. He just using man to do it, but this is the Most High's doing. And it says, and the king of the earth who have committed fornications of wickedness and live deliciously with her shall mourn her and lament for her and pray for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing far off for the fear of her judgment, saying, Alas, Alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. See, now we at the part where it says in verse 8, chaos and civil unrest. Because it's already set up. Society decay, then isolation. Who's going to come help you in a situation of society decay? You got society decay, breakdown of society, racial tension, economic problems, religious issues, and political issues. Who's going to come save you now? Because you isolated yourself from the world, said America first, make America great again. Nobody want to deal with you because of your mentality. So now when all those things have gradually come together, now you got chaos. One foul incident. Even when you look at the movie How It Ends, right? When you look at the movie How It Ends, it was calamities in the earth, every man for themselves in the movie How It Ends. Even when you look at the book of Eli, every man was for himself. Even when you look at the movie Leave the World Behind, every man was for himself. That means that they had civil unrest going on because everybody was fighting for whatever was left on the shelves. Even now, when you go look at Gary, Indiana, and they've been out of power for 11 days, now you see people that are fighting to try to get somebody else generators. You see people are running out of food. You see people that are in chaos right now because the fact is they wasn't prepared physically or spiritually for the situation. Even when, and the Most High, what the Most High did was he gave you an example in Texas a couple of years ago when the power was out in the winter in Texas. Now the power is out in Gary, Indiana during the summer. And nobody paid attention. Nobody prepared because they feel like if it's not on my doorstep, it won't happen to me. Because we had a mindset that, oh, America's going to be first again. We're going to make America great again. It gives us a false illusion that judgment is not coming. But judgment is here. We're in the final stages of it. Now you just need one spark for religion, for racial tension it'll ignite everything. The hangings that they're doing is the Most High is holding people back because the hangings, the police brutality, he's holding things back for a certain period of time. But one gonna spark that. Boom! And there you have it. Because the lynchings are coming. The police brutality is here. And even the government knows that police brutality is happening. They decide not to do anything about it. Just that one thing is going to spark everything. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 47, verse 9. Nine through 11. Listen to this. I just read it, but I want you to hear it again. But these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day. The loss of children and widowhood, and they shall come upon thee in their perfection for the multitude of thy wickedness of sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantment. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, and thou hast said, none seeth me, thy wisdom and thy knowledge. It has perverted thee, and none that has said in thy heart, I am, and none else besides me. Listen to the mindset of the person. Listen to the mindset of the system. Listen to the mindset of whatever. It says, for thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge. It has perverted thee. It has confused thee. It's made you crazy. And thou hast said in your mind, I am and none else besides me. Nobody going to be like us no more. Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from which it riseth. Mischief shall fall upon thee. Thou shalt not be able to put it off. Desolation shall come upon them suddenly, which thou shalt not know. Nobody knew what happened in how it ended. That happened suddenly. Leave the world behind happened suddenly. All these things happened suddenly. Nobody was expecting it because everybody was marrying, getting into marriage and all these things there. Nobody was mentally prepared for the catastrophes that was hitting the earth. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. Chapter 5, verse 3. Let us go to verse 2 and 3. It says, for yourself knoweth perfectly that the day of Yahuwah's soul cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then suddenly destructions come upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brothers, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. He said, for those who are in the word, they know what's happening. They see it. They see the writing on the wall. For those who don't know and see it, they don't know the writing on the wall. They can't see. Only thing we're waiting for now is the straw that breaks the camel back. That's all we're waiting on. Once the straw break the camel back, it's a done deal. Ain't no turning back. Because too much evidence been piled up. Too much anger been piled up. Too much depravity has been piled up. Too much stuff has been going on where you want to stop that. The ball is rolling. The snowball is rolling down the hill. Let's go to Luke chapter 7, verse 12. It says, when he came nigh to the gate of the city, behold, there were a dead man carried out, the only son of his mother. And she was a widow, and much people of the city was with her. That's how you're going to see chaos because of calamities in the earth. They may not tell you if anybody passed away up in Gary. They may not tell you that. They may not have told you people passed away in Texas. There's a lot of things going on. But we're in the final stages of it. We're in the final stages of the beginning of it. So you got to be prepared and be ready, because this is not a scare tactic. This is not something that I'm trying to make you afraid of. But this is something that the Spirit of Yahuwah put on me. This is something he put on me. So however you choose to use it, however you choose to take it, analyze it, research, take it back to the Most High. Go pull some articles up. Balance my teachings out. See what you come up with. Because the simple fact is, no president. It's so symbolic. No president has made the situation he made. 45 means 9. He couldn't get 46 because it would have been 10. So he had to go to 47, which is 11. So what he's basically saying is it's a crisis on the horizon. All that stuff that Fauci did destroyed society, destroyed people, destroyed families, destroyed countries, destroyed a lot of people. So it shows you there that society has been devastated because of this system. So I'm just saying to you, we're in the final stages of destruction. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day. How you know we're in the final stage? Because it's giving us a warning. This is the last warning. Therefore her plagues shall come in one day. Death, mourning, and famine. And she shall be utterly burned with fire, for the strong is Yahuwah Adonai who judged her. See, this ain't nothing but the Most High doing. This ain't nobody else. This ain't man's doing. This is the Most High doing, but he using man to do it. Yep. And see, I talk about processes and time. See, the Most High have to use process during the time period so that things can come to fruition. It ain't going to happen like that. If you look at like I said, look at Genesis chapter 1, it's a process of time. Events, times of events to show you. And then we got to understand that we already on past the society to collapse. We already been isolated. Now the only thing we're waiting on is chaos. The market is about to crash because Japan is just dropping a lot of their monies. They're dropping in debt of the United States. So, Father, as we come to you today, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you. Father, we give you all the honor and the glory. Father, we thank you for everything you have done, what you're doing. Father, we just ask that you continue to let your will be done. Father, we thank you for just being who you are. We thank you for letting your word go out and not come back void. Father, we just thank you for everything. But Father, we ask that you forgive us for our sins, knowingly and unknowingly. Father, we ask that you turn our minds to you and your word and be obedient to your word. Asking that you let us keep the 10 commandments or the commandments that you have placed in front of us, so that we can be counted worthy and we receive your protection and your healing, Father. Father, we just ask that you forgive us, direct our paths, lead us in the ways in which you want us to go and not the way we want to go, Father. We ask that you let us see the way you want us to see, hear the way you want us to hear, and speak the way you want us to speak. But Father, we know at the end of the day, like your son said, not my will, but thy will be done. And all these things we pray in your higher name. So let it be. Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. Y'all have a great one. Thank y'all who looked at me today. Brother Greg, thank you, man, for looking and making comments. Thank you, brother. Much love to you, okay? Y'all have a blessed one.
Open your eyes. Can you see the signs?
Also, thank you for your time.
Can you feel the shaking? There is nothing new under the sun. What has been will come again. This battle is deeper than flesh and blood. It's a war for the heart. Open up for the mind. For the soul. Wake up! Wake up! Nation rising against nation. Rumors of war across the land. People searching for tomorrow, trying hard to understand. Prices rising, tables shrinking. Families struggling to survive. Working harder, falling deeper, just to keep the dream alive. Food manufacturing, sickness increasing, healing, turning dollars and cents. People hurting, people traumatized, wondering where compassion went. We put our faith in jobs and titles, in a paycheck that can disappear. But your career was never your provider. The Most High brought you here.
Everything that can be shaken, start shaking all around. Build your house upon the rock. Stand firm on holy ground. Babylon is falling.
Babylon,
Babylon is falling.
wake up, wake up, time to see.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Open your eyes, become aware of your awareness. Truth will make you free. Don't put your faith in Babylon.
Don't let fear become your king.
The Most High,
Most High,
the Most High, the Most High,
Most High.
the Most High is still your provider. Hold your faith through everything. Yeah, they told us stories from the beginning. Who discovered and who built this land? Whose blood, whose sweat, whose hands were hidden? Whose history they didn't understand? Some truth was buried beneath the pages. Some voices never made the books. Question what you've always been told. Sometimes truth requires another look. Bad systems promise they will save us. Governments say they understand. Left against right, neighbor against neighbor, while division spreads across the land. Social systems, economic systems, power changing hands again. Kingdoms rise and kingdoms crumble. Only truth will stand in the end.
Everything that can be shaken, start shaking all around. Build your house upon the rock. Stand firm on holy ground. Babylon is falling.
Babylon is
Babylon is falling.
wake up, wake up, time to see.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Babylon is falling.
Open your eyes, become aware of your awareness. Truth will make you free. Don't put your faith in Babylon.
Don't let fear become your king.
The Most High,
Most High,
the Most High, the Most High,
Most High.
the Most High is still your provider. Hold your faith through everything. Yeah, look at the fighting inside our families. Look at the fighting on the job. Brother against brother, sister against sister. Everybody carrying scars. Trauma passed through generations. Pain we never learned to name. Yeah. Wounded people. Keeping those cycles in the game. But we wrestle not with flesh and blood. There's a battle beyond what we see. Guard your heart and guard your spirit. Don't let hatred make you weak. Oh, put on the armor, stand in wisdom. Don't surrender your peace to fear. When the world says everything is hopeless, remember, the Most High is still here. There's nothing new under the sun. Kingdoms rose, kingdoms fell, empires rose, empires rose,
Empires fell,
empires fell,
money changed,
rulers changed,
systems changed their name.
but the same hunger
For power,
the same deception,
the same deception
the same division.
keeps coming back again.
So wake up, not in hatred, not in fear, not against your brother.
Not against your sister.
Wake up in wisdom,
Wake up in truth.
wake up in faith.
Wake up.
Come out of confusion, come out of deception.
Come out of Babylon.
Who is your provider?
The Most High. The Most High.
When the money gets low,
Most High.
when the job lets you go.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all have a nice one. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Thank y'all for watching. Later.